I see a lot of people starting to freak out, starting to sweat. And I think it's just PTSD from the last bull run. They're like, oh my gosh, XRP's at 63.85 cents. And the ADA token, it's at 63.94. We just got passed by Cardano. What's going on? This ain't 2021, people. We don't have the widespread legal problems we had before. We have direct fiat liquidity from every major crypto exchange in the United States. XRP is going to do good. Just don't worry, let things develop. And the only question on your mind should be, is this current run going to continue, or do we have a little more cooking to do? Because throughout the duration of a full bull run, XRP is going to run. And you saw even last time when we were the Wildcat Outlaw coin, it still ran in price, and it ran quite high for that type of environment. This time around, it's going to do well. Furthermore, it shouldn't bother you that Cardano is going up in price, because you should have some. In my opinion, you should, at a minimum, have the holy trinity of crypto. And you can weight it. You can have more XRP if you like, or whatever. But you should have XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's always nice because it's always a front runner and you feel good. And beyond that, these major layer 1 smart contracts, things like Cardano, Polkadot, Cosmos Atom, you got to have those. That's a great base to start with. And then you don't have to vex about these issues. You can say, you know what, great, my Cardano's going up, my Polkadot's going up, and guess what's going to happen? If this continues, XRP is going to explode down the stretch, and I'm going to make money there as well. Just relax, let it develop, and make sure you have a little bit of coverage there in your portfolio. I told you I bought XRP for a long, long time, and I've used this bear market to kind of fill out my portfolio in areas that had some shortcomings. And so now I'm just relaxing, enjoying the coins that are going up, and just watching this develop to try to ascertain if it's going to continue. And again, I don't take anything for granted. I don't have any guarantees. But, you know, if it does continue, I'm ready. And I feel good in that knowledge. And if we have any setbacks, guess what? I'm ready to buy more value, more premium cryptocurrencies. Let me know what you think down below. Are you concerned with XRP this time around? I know Ripple's selling XRP. They always do. They always have, and they always will. It's their coins to sell, and best believe they're going to continue doing so. That has to always be factored into this investment. But guess what? This isn't the only project that has someone like Ripple selling tokens onto the market. They all do this to some extent, at least. So, you know, it's not going to be a big deal. XRP will do just fine. And in my mind, I believe it's going to be the top performing large cap crypto when it's all said and done. But that's just my opinion. Time will answer that argument, but it's going to run. Know that. That's the main issue here. A big news of the day. We had the Ledger hack, and we see multiple Ethereum-based applications, including Zapper, Sushi Swap, Phantom Balancer, were compromised early Thursday due to a Ledger security breach. So it was their problem. It's not an issue with Ethereum or any of these dApps. And it's not yet known how many decentralized dApps were affected or how much money was lost. So we've heard estimates of 150,000, but we really don't know. And I think the main takeaway here, Ledger's not my favorite company. I've been, griping about them for a while, but I do use them. I got a Ledger over here somewhere. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I got my Trezor. I got all sorts of stuff. I use different mechanisms to secure my coins, and I try to make sure I have coverage where if there's one single failure, it doesn't take me out, right? No one wants to have your coins taken or lose any value. But don't trust all your value to any one thing. Use a variety of security there. In general, though, if you weren't connected to any of these dApps, you weren't using them, you're fine. Your coins should be good to go. It's a whole different issue on Ledger. I don't think that it's a very well-run company right now for whatever reason. Maybe they have cash problems. I don't know what the issue there is. There's a lot to not like. But at the end of the day, you got to be extra safe, and you got to spread your risk out. And that is a point of failure, of course, securing your cryptocurrencies with any sort of solution, because software is vulnerable. People make mistakes, and hackers find new and novel ways to go after you. Just understand that. C3 Nick says the following. It's absolutely possible. He says it's just a matter of time until MetaMask gets compromised through a malicious update and send your private keys to the server over to an attacker. It's a prime target. A lot of people use it. People are after it. Be careful with that. I use MetaMask when I have to, when I'm interacting with the dApp or I'm trying to use tokens, but I don't store, a lot of investment capital on MetaMask for that reason. I try to keep safer alternatives, but just something to think about there. Now, we have the following, Gary Gensler. Wait till you hear this. So he's asked about the spot Bitcoin ETF application. And it should be a pretty straightforward answer like, hey, we're working on it. Hopefully we get it done, whatever. Listen to this answer. This is really a reptilian way to answer this question.
Obviously, the Commission and the staff of the Commission is still hard at work on a number of issues, one of them dealing with the number of filings of spot Bitcoin ETFs. You know, Mr. Chair, I have to ask you this question. There has been a lot.
I did something very significant about the $26 trillion Treasury market, which is really the base of our entire capital markets. It's how we fund our government. It's how our Federal Reserve does monetary policy. It's how we maintain the dollar dominance around the globe. And you want to ask me about crypto?
In my defense, Commissioner Ueda also brought up crypto in this open meeting.
Priorities. I mean, the U.S. Treasury.
So we're worried about the U.S. Treasury, but we shouldn't ask about other things? And is this really what he should be worried about? I mean, he's really a regulator about securities and security products, not how the Treasury runs or, you know, if the U.S. dollar is the global standard. Like, this is the weirdest, strangest, most evasive answer. Let's see if it gets any better as we continue.
Market is a very consequential, very important market. Crypto securities are not only much smaller, it's not how we fund our government, it's not how we conduct monetary policy, and for many investors, they've been harmed in that market. And they're being harmed because there's too much non-compliance. It's not.
How sickening is this guy? Like, he can't even answer a question. And a lot of investors have been harmed because we don't have clear rules and we don't have products like ETFs that run through, you know, traditional brokerages and things like that, you know, tried and true custodians. So people, guess what? They have to keep their, you know, value here on these type of thumb drives because they don't have your traditional means to invest. And yes, there are a lot of losses because of the bad work that the SEC and Gary Gensler in general is doing.
Just non-compliance with securities laws, it's non-compliance with a raft of other laws. Our sister regulator in the market space, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the U.S. Department of Treasury, and Financial Crimes Enforcement. But again, I do ask, and if you look at the focus and the priorities, the U.S. Treasury market and what we did today is really quite important to our capital markets.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine you asked this guy, enough of this clown. Can you imagine you asked him about SPACs or some other, you know, area of securities, and he gave you that type of answer? Hey, let's just talk about, you know, the Treasury Department, all this other stuff. Like, he just won't answer any crypto-related questions straight on, in a direct manner, in a clear manner. And you wonder why markets are confused. I mean, this is the perfect interview to show the problem right now with cryptocurrencies. JP Morgan, new upgrade will drive this crypto to outperform Bitcoin next year. So, you know, I hate these titles because it's not like JP Morgan is a whole entity came together and came to this consensus. Of course, there's some analyst that works at JP Morgan that said this, but they said the following. JP Morgan says the world's second largest crypto, Ethereum, has the possibility to outperform Bitcoin, the world's largest cryptocurrencies, next year. Proto-Shanksharding, I don't even know how to say that, which is expected to improve efficiencies on the network, is kind of the key component here. We'll call it EIP 4844. You know, it's expected in the first half of 2024. JP Morgan also pointed out that next year's Bitcoin halving is already priced in. So let's unpack this a little bit. First of all, they're going to do some upgrades. They're better than they were. We've seen with the merge and all of these other upgrades they've had. They're rolling stuff out. But I'll tell you this. Ethereum, when the bull run hits in full stride, when people are just piling in, trying to do transactions, it's a piece of junk. It's not going to be able to facilitate all that. And I don't care about EIP 4844. It's still going to be a piece of junk. And it's going to be expensive and slow. And people are going to roll off to some of their competitors. It's just the facts. It's not going to be ready on the next bull run. Now, I understand people know, obviously, the Bitcoin halving is coming, and it is priced in to some extent. But there's also mechanisms that stop you from fully front-running that. A lot of it has to do with, as that price goes up, under the current distribution model with Bitcoin, miners are incentivized to sell earlier and sell a lot. And so it's going to drive that price down. And you won't be fully able to front run and drive that price up pre-Bitcoin halving. Yes, it has an effect. It already has. But, to say it's totally priced in, I think is wrong, because you have a real metric there, which is a decrease in supply that happens, and that don't happen before the Bitcoin halving. So, will Ethereum overtake Bitcoin? I highly doubt it. I get the argument. You can do a lot of different things with Ethereum. NFTs, DeFi, there's a lot there, but how much can you really do with it once things get cranking and you start loading those transactions? It's all going to spill over onto Ethereum layer 2s and onto other competitive networks out there, things like Polkadot, Cardano, Cosmos, Atom. It's just the way it's going to be. They can take their proto-dank sharding all they want. It's not going to meet that demand. It's going to be a piece of junk, and it's just not going to function properly. Just understand that. And I would be very, very surprised if Ethereum passes Bitcoin this next time around. It's one of the reasons why I'm not buying it at its current valuation. I think it's too rich. Now, I still want part of that, what I know will be an Ethereum surge. So I'm buying Ethereum layer 2s. That's how I'm approaching this. Let me know down below what you think. Is Ethereum going to pass up Bitcoin? I get the argument. A lot of different use cases, a lot of different areas to really pull demand. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Bitcoin will stay far ahead of Ethereum this next bull run once it gets going. I want to talk about this a little bit. I brought this up yesterday. PolySign. I guess it went bust. We see this announcement that it's going to be sold at public auction. What a turn of events. But look at this. Just in June of 2022, they raised $53 million to expand staff. It was part of their acquisition of this MG Stover in April. And they also got a $25 million credit facility from a private equity firm. And now here we are going bust. And my understanding is they needed to refi maybe that credit line and could not. But man, what a massive failure. And just be careful when you're on these platforms and you're buying private companies, small private companies, where you don't get the same information you do with a publicly traded company. And in a very risky market in crypto that moves quickly. And, this is dangerous stuff. And people need to understand, how dangerous these various companies are. And you can buy an exchange even, and there's a hack, a failure. The founders aren't, safe with your funds, and that exchange even goes bust. So everything on there, you really got to be careful with these private companies. And it's a shame because we heard a lot of hype coming out of PolySign, and they were going to do a lot of great things with custody. And it's looking like it was a complete and utter failure. And again, we'll have to wait to unpack some of the stats. You don't get a lot of info out of this, again, being a private company. It's not like if this was a public company, we'd be getting all sorts of info. Right now we have to sit and wait and see what comes out. But yeah, it looks like an epic failure for PolySign. And they brought in an awful lot of money, and it sure didn't work out. Let me know what you think down below. And as always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.